Good afternoon, everyone. We're just going to check and make sure that we can be heard in the Zoom webinar. Kim, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you, Kim. Okay.
You're welcome.
So Chair Pyska, we will be ready to begin when you are.
We're ready to resume.
Yep. Okay, we are back from our lunch and we will go to our 115 item 6.9, consideration of an agreement to provide funding in support of the BUILD program facilitated by North Coast Opportunities in the not to exceed amount of $800,000.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and board members. My name is Matthew Rothstein, Deputy County Administrative Officer. On Tuesday, July 19, 2022, your board acted to allocate $800,000 in American Rescue Plan Act coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds to support the activities of the BUILD project facilitated by Lake County's Community Action Agency, North Coast Opportunities Incorporated, or NCO. This commitment was made in the interest of acting on two significant community needs. One, the inventory of affordable housing, and two, development of Lake County's construction trades workforce. The County of Lake is just one funder of this important program. Property owners also cover a portion of the costs of the work undertaken at a specific property, so the effect of your investment and those of others are enhanced by this network of contributions, if you will. The agreement before you today in the not to exceed amount of $800,000 formalizes your support of BUILD. Project objectives, outputs, and outcomes advanced by your board's commitment consist of the following. Up to 30 participants will participate in BUILD training, and at least 80% will graduate from the program. 100% of graduates will demonstrate hard and soft job acquisition skills measured through a skills assessment conducted at the end of the training. 80% of graduates will secure employment. 100% of participants will be securely housed. At least 2 additional contractors will begin working with the program, and by the end of the project, at least 25 habitable homes will be added to the county inventory of affordable rental housing. I would now like to introduce Robin Barra of NCO, who is present in Zoom this afternoon, and if she's not promoted to panelist, please, if we can do that. And she will provide an update on the recent successes of the BUILD project, and we're also excited that Derek Fiedler-Riddle and Michael Willis of the program are in the chambers today. Staff recommends your board consider this update and approve the agreement following any discussion and public input. And Robin, thank you for joining.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
right, I don't have sharing permissions and I will need that to play my video. So I'm gonna go ahead and start speaking and maybe we can work on that.
Okay, Robin, if you can hear me, if you can accept the invitation to be assigned as a panelist in this meeting, then you'll have the sharing permissions that you need.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. Sorry for that delay. Good afternoon. I'm Robin Barra, Director of Community Projects for North Coast Opportunities. It's my pleasure today to talk to you about NCO's BUILD program. That's BUILD, Building Up Individuals and Local Development. BUILD is a workforce development program aimed at skill development in the construction industry. We launched in 2020 and the program continues to gain momentum and support. We look forward to finalizing the ARPA contract with the county. We also just received additional funding from the California Workforce Development Board. This means that our anticipated program budget for BUILD will be just under $950,000. We're really excited about that because in 2020, we started with $150,000. Our community and our funders have taken notice of this important program and we are grateful. Like many programs, BUILD was developed out of need. NCO's New Digs Rapid Rehousing Program was carrying really long wait lists because we just couldn't find enough affordable housing. In addition, many of our clients needed work. They didn't have the skills. BUILD was developed to create more housing, to make housing safe and habitable, to give people job skills in construction, and to create a hiring pool for contractors who simply don't have access to enough skilled laborers. These needs are certainly still here, but BUILD is making a dent and changing the lives of the people we do serve. Technically, BUILD has been underfunded the past 6 months while we wait for approval, but that hasn't stopped us. As the Community Action Agency for Lake County, NCO has remained devoted to investing in this critical program. Project Coordinator Derek Fiedler, who you'll meet in a moment, has diligently kept the program running. All this work paid off because we are now funded and we just held one of our most successful graduation ceremonies to date. And with that, I will play a 5-minute video for you, which will help you better understand the program, our outcomes, and our achievements. All right, let's hope this works. Here we go. And with that, I will invite Derek Fiedler up. He's with you in person today to answer any questions you might have about the program.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Do you have anything to add before we start questions and answers, or want to provide that opportunity?
Yes, thank you. I just want to acknowledge just how grateful I am for the opportunity for the investment and for the opportunity to invest in these students, because they're worth it. They're absolutely worth it. This was by far one of the most effective and motivated groups that we have ever had. And part of, as you can tell in the video, some of the things that they were able to accomplish in a short amount of time was just amazing. This was a unique cohort 6 because we were under a tighter schedule. We started about a month and a half later than we normally do, and so our margins were no longer. We graduated just a few days before Christmas, just to make sure that they were able to get absolutely every opportunity to get their hours and their experience and their trainings in. And just with all of the new partnerships that we're able to form this year and the work that we're able to do is just, I'm just very grateful that we get the opportunity to do this for these people, these new leaders in Lake County.
So when this opportunity came to us and we looked at it in our subcommittee, I was excited from the beginning. This is fundamentally changing lives, and it's a small scale, but it's going to have a lot of reaching effects. And, you know, having these cohorts, learning what they're learning, and then providing the housing for these families is incredible. And I'm really excited. I'm excited to move forward with this. And I'm just wondering if there's any other comments from the board members right now?
I just had one really dumb question from the video, hand tool tricks. And I'm thinking of juggling power saws. And I know that's not true, but I assume as part of the training, they learn how to operate tools safely and probably learn some tricks. But I just had a question about the phrase. What hand tool tricks do you guys teach in your program?
Not a dumb question, very good one, actually. When I see that, the first thing I thought you were going to say was spinning a speed square the fastest. But no, actually, some of those is you'd be surprised that much of the knowledge is in the fine details, in the trade of being a craftsman, of being a construction worker. And so a lot of that actually would be a speed square. You look at it, and it's just it's a triangle. But a lot of people don't know how to use it. And so one of our instructors, Michael Willis, is with us here. He's in-house. He's our site supervisor for the work that we do on the housing and the remodels. But we also have one of our new partners is with Mendocino College. Because of our combined efforts, we were able to revamp their intro to construction coursework, which is now going to be available this semester. People can get the whole certificate right here in Lake County, as well as Ukiah. So the instructor, who's also named Michael Ross, he was able to show them all the different ways that you could use a speed square to be able to, figure out a roof pitch, to making sure that you can get your layout for, 2x4 framing construction, things like that. And so typically they're called tricks because there's little tiny things that could save you a half day's work.
Go ahead.
I think you just upped their insurance premium with that comment.
He said it was a square. He didn't say he was juggling with chainsaws.
So I appreciate that it's not just an idea of what you're going to do. I love seeing what you've done. One of the things that I was most concerned about when this came to the ARPA meeting was the fact that would we be rehabbing rentals that are currently substandard but still being rented? or would we be rehabbing houses that are not currently on, and all of the above need to be rehabbed and brought to par. A part of me was, at what point is somebody who's not taking care of their house, that is renting it, that's making money off somebody, should get the help to rehab? But I see that in the agreement, it's to really put an effort in expanding the number of rentals that are on the market, which I really appreciate that that's on there. And I know that it's not possibly going to be 100%. That's not, that you can't force that. But I was looking at the reporting requirements, and I'm wondering, I didn't see any specifics to what the reporting requirements are. It says something brought to you by the County of Lake. But I want to make sure that we find out how many houses were rehabbed that were already rentals and how many are new. I think that's an important one to kind of qualify how did this program work to really expand the market. And then, of course, I see the numbers already, but I didn't see it in the agreement. The numbers you shared with us with the number of trainees, number of graduates, what they're doing after the fact, I think that's really important data, again, because there's so much more to this than just the rehabbing of the houses. I mean, we're helping people get to a destination. Obviously, you did well in working with Mendocino and bringing back the construction class. I think that helps kind of bring everything together. Not only did you learn a skill, but now you have the potential of getting a certificate for that skill, which gets you into the workforce a lot faster and at a higher level potentially. So all of the, I like it. It was very exciting to see my friend Jerome Snipes part of the program. Haven't seen Frog in a very long time, but I've known that kid since he was 8 years old, 9 years old, lived across the street from me, wonderful family. So seeing that you're reaching out to true locals and helping out, I think all of this is exciting. I would like the reporting requirements to be more specific. I don't know if they already have those specifics, but I think that will help us to really measure the success of the program in the long run, because I think it's twofold. It's the people involved and it's the housing. And so those are my comments.
Anybody else? Oh, go ahead.
Seen programs similar to this before, and they've worked. They've worked really well. I really like the idea that not we, but you are training folks to do this construction as we continuously have issues with contractors in the county as they're going over to Sonoma County or wherever else they can conduct a more lucrative job. So with these young kids coming in there and doing this, hopefully they look at it from their perspective after graduating to come and do more work in the community. Take care of some of that, right? Yeah.
Okay. Again.
Obviously support the project. It'll be great to see with this large investment next year what's been able to be done. Already saw what's being done, so obviously complete support of what's happening, because it really is. It's that holistic attitude towards how do we get these young guys or these folks going through the core program to not only look at it as a job opportunity, but just like I said, getting a bank account, looking at the mental health issues, all the other stuff that needs to do it, and then just showing up. Learning that. I saw on there somebody had a perfect attendance. I don't know which one. It went by pretty quick. I was trying to read it there. But those are all great things, in building that young workforce as we try and rehab Lake County's housing situation. So I think it's pretty unique, and I really like the way it's set up, where you find the homeowner. They got requirements on the dollar amounts for 1 year to 5 years, depending how much rehab's done there to really affect that housing opportunity for folks. So I am in complete support of the program, and we'll look to see what's being done with this investment that's being done by all of us. And the ARPA program, thank you very much for bringing this through, the committee that's looking at it. I know you're approached by all kinds of things. Heck, I think I even sent something back to you in my district to be reconsidered, but I appreciate supporting it.
Okay, so I'll open it up for public comment. Is there anyone in the board chambers or in the Zoom room? Is that it?
Hold up. Nothing in Zoom.
Okay, then I'll bring it back to the board.
I have a couple more questions.
Okay.
Just real quick, on capacity, are you guys needing to expand your team in order to handle this new influx of funding in order to, because I know you have 2 years and you shared with us what you've done over the past 2 years, and it's a whole lot less than what we're asking today. So just kind of curious how you're planning to handle that, or if you've already been kind of setting yourself up for that expansion.
Yeah, so one of the big things that we've done is hired on Michael Willis right here, which allows us to have a full crew of 6. And then we are looking at ways to where we could have greater outcomes as far as the amount of housing units that we can touch, as far as remodels or even new construction as well. I'll just say, well, one of the things I'm looking forward to is getting together with the committee and being able to not just, how to say, like flesh out the details of the outcomes of, what would be good goals, but then also expectations for the investment in this program, but then also to network with connections and to see what other potential capacity building could be built, even, right here with the committee. And then really simply, like, we're doing things to where we can expand, and then we are hoping that we can be able to do more of the housing side and do more work on remodels. For us, it's a constant balance of quantity and quality, because we have a new partner with the remodel that we were able to do with the rental. He was a new homeowner, new investor in Lake County, and that's a new rental that's going towards affordable housing for new digs clients that are coming out of homelessness. So that's adding to that stock. However, it needed a lot of work. And so that took over a month of our time and an already, truncated, an abbreviated cohort that didn't leave us a whole lot of time to do another significant project. And so kind of balancing out, it's like, do we want to, take on smaller projects, but, have more of an impact that way, or take on a few less and be able to do like new construction and, new units as well as significant remodels.
And then I do have a request. I'm not sure if it's on there. I didn't see it. I'd love to get a report back a year later, what's been happening, maybe some of the struggles, some of the successes, so we can help each other out to make sure that you're successful in your program, because we want you to be successful. We're not just creating this relationship and just kind of seeing what happens. We want to make sure that we could support you. That's something I would love to add to the agreement if possible, to get a year-end review. I'm actually really excited about where we can be 2 years later, because I think there's still a lot to gain in your efficiencies and your understanding on how to better your program as you go, since it's still fairly new. Because I'm thinking future-wise, we have a lot of tax defaulted properties, and maybe we could figure out how to do some rehabs on some of those. As a nonprofit, there's ways for us to build that relationship in different ways. So I think there's a lot of excitement that comes from this. I want to see the success first and foremost, and then maybe we could talk a little further about what else, how else we can grow that relationship.
Great.
And since no one else seems to be saying anything, Madam Chair, I would like to move to approve the agreement to provide funding and support of the BUILD program facilitated by North Coast Opportunities, Inc. in the not-to-exceed amount of $800,000. And if I get a second, with the amendments as proposed for reporting and the annual report to the board.
Well, I'll second with a clarification. I'm just looking at the reporting requirement right now, which is kind of financially, and I noticed there's 4 tranches, I don't know how to pronounce that, but the funding comes out in sequence. I'm very satisfied, based on the video that's presented, that informal reporting on the success of this program will happen. But to the extent you want to hear more frequent updates, it seems like each time we switch into a new tranche of funds, there'd be an opportunity at least to report back not only that the financials have been done, but we have happy workers, we have placed homeless people, we have something like that. So you know, if you want to clarify what type of reporting, I think there's opportunity within the existing project agreement as it's presented that we'll get all the reporting we need, but how often would you want to do that? Every tranche?
I want an annual report. I want to make sure they have the time to go through a cohort, have the time to go through their process. I'm sure that takes time, so I don't want to get them back up here and saying we're working on rather than this is what we've done. And I think that the overall reporting criteria of just the number of houses and which ones were rental before and which ones are now new rentals, to me, that's just final report as typical for reporting requirements based on grant funding.
And Madam Chair, if you don't mind, so the agreement as currently presented does say that updates will be provided to the Board of Supervisors on request. And I think
Okay.
annual is certainly consistent with that. And also there will be quarterly written reports, and staff will be meeting with NCO to ensure that we have understanding of what the content of those reports will be. I did take notes on the items that you were recommending, and we can certainly talk through that and ensure we get those numbers.
Do you want an annual presentation? Is that what you're thinking? So that we can come here and see next January how many homes and how many families and how many cohorts? Is that doable?
Oh, that'd be fine.
Let's do that. Okay, so
I don't know if we have a second or not.
can we start over?
Well, I mean, you want to add it to the contract, so it's like, where does it go and how long is that sentence? So the addition of one sentence to number 2, reporting requirements, where it starts off, contractor shall submit quarterly reports in a format, that's for the financials. And then it ends, a final report will likewise, how about we just amend it to say an annual report will likewise be provided? And that's on paragraph 2 of the build project agreement. So instead of a final report, how about just an annual? Or it already says updates on project progress will be provided on request. So how about updates on project progress will be provided annually? Would that be a good amendment? Would you live with that?
Anita muted herself.
Yeah, I'm waiting for
Oh.
county council.
Okay, do you want it provided or do you want it presented to you? Because those are
Presented.
two different.
Yeah, an annual board presentation.
Okay, then if the amendment is to updates on project progress will be presented to the Board of Supervisors on an annual basis. And that
Final
appears,
report stuff is just, I think, details that can be added to the county format that's already being prepared for stats. So I don't think we need to provide that in there.
okay, then I'm going to second that as amended.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Well, Derek and Robin, thank you so much for this work. It's really important work. We appreciate everything that you're doing for our communities, and we look forward to seeing you next year, although I'm going to get with you sooner. And I do love your emails that you're sending out. Is everybody on the board getting them?
I don't know.
I took the liberty of adding you all to the mail list.
Yeah.
So let me know if you're not receiving them. I'll make sure it's
Will do.
correct.
Yeah.
And Mr. Willis, thank you for leading these young men as well.
You don't know how rewarding it is to see these young men begin.
If I can ask you to come to the microphone,
we
because
can
we
come.
want to hear
Hold
you.
up, Michael.
I can reopen some public.
Sorry.
It's okay. We didn't close the item yet, right? So it's still open, and we'll reopen.
Yeah.
Or here we are.
I stay there. I was just saying, you just don't know how rewarding it is to see these young men when they first come in and you have to interview them. Some of them don't have the best of living situations or background. But on the application, it says no skills are required. So for these young men to come in and put forth that effort, you see how many days they actually missed. You know, they were hungry. Some of them come out of programs, and they put forth a good effort. Derek has a lot of classes going on to teach them about accounting, DMV. We had a safety class. They go to the college, and they were at the college taking those classes too. One young man, he got a job. Another one was promised a job. And it's funny about this program, it's supposed to be construction oriented. But after you go through the process of all the classes and doing construction, your heart may not be in it. But with the training that they receive through Derek and other people coming in motivating them, 2 of them enrolled into college. One want to be a drug rehab teacher, and the other one wants to go in another way. So it's rewarding to me to see them from the beginning until the end. And it wasn't always nice. If you've ever been on a construction site, you know you have problems and difficulties. But we worked through those problems and difficulties, and they all graduated, and they was thankful. And I'm just glad to be a part of this program. Derek is my supervisor. She's my boss also. I just started in February, but I think this is a good, in August, excuse me. I think this is a good program for Lake County and for the young men, because you and I know the poverty rate, the homeless rate, and what's really going on in Lake County. And if it wasn't for this program, I think that a few of these young men would be doing something else. And I'm just glad to be a part of the BUILD program. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One more plug is that our application for the next cohort is open for just a few more days. So anybody out there listening, or you know anybody, think it'd be a good
How do
match.
people apply?
The best thing would be to, they could go to the website, which is ncoinc.org /build, B-U-I-L-D. But then there's also a short link, bit.ly link, bit.ly/build, all caps, dash, apply, small caps.
Since we just approved a relationship with NCO with this, I would like to see us posting those links on our social media site, if that's possible. That way that'll help out. But see, it's free advertising by doing a report to us, so it's perfect.
Perfect timing. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Looks like our tax collector has arrived,
Get serious now.
so we can move on to,
The way he talked to me earlier, I think he can wait.
item 7.8, consideration of delegation of investment authority to Treasurer Tax Collector Patrick Sullivan.
All right, good afternoon, Board. This is Patrick Sullivan, Treasurer Tax Collector. It's my first time
Close
being
enough
here
to
in
the
that role.
microphone.
That's my first time being here in this role. So Patrick Sullivan, Treasurer Tax Collector. The first item I have up is the consideration of delegation of investment authority to Treasurer Tax Collector. As your board is aware, previously this delegation was given to the Treasurer Tax Collector when your board opted to develop its investment policy and sort of restart the investment program. We ultimately brought on Chandler Asset Management as our advisor. They have continued to develop our program over the last year, and at this point we are up and running there. The standard practice in the other California counties is to delegate the authority to the Treasurer Tax Collector. Right now, that authority still lies with your board until you choose to delegate it to this office, if you so choose. The advantage is a streamlined process. The way the workflows go and the interaction between both the banks and Chandler, the Treasurer Tax Collector is sort of the most logical, easiest way to control that flow. Your board still sets that investment policy, which is reviewed each year. There's also regular review when Chandler comes here and reports with my office each quarter. So I believe you'll still have that level of transparency that you were originally looking for, and the opportunity to weigh in on future changes to a general strategy through the policy. But for day-to-day operations, I am asking that you delegate this authority so that my office can engage directly with Chandler and our banks.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Just a quick comment. When is that annual review for the policy? It's been close to about a year since we did that, right?
Yeah, I was curious about that. It depends on when you feel like we were completely done. I think after this next quarterly report, when we get things in order before the end of the fiscal year, we should bring it back and look at it again. So my goal is to bring it back to your board by June.
Perfect. Thank you.
Anybody else? Oh, Supervisor Green?
Yeah, and again, new kid on the block, so I assume Chandler Asset Management is our fiduciary, and they help us manage our investments. Is it strictly the transactions that happen with our investments, or are they on contract to advise the county and this board on how we slice and dice our various allocations of investments?
So their contract is twofold. It does manage they do help manage the trade specifically, but they also help develop our policy. Throughout this time, they take the overall policy and directive that was given. I mean, previously it was by your board. They implement that strategy. So they do look at the allocations. Everything has to stay within the range that's set both by our policy and by state law and regulations. Our policy is actually more restrictive than the state. So the adjustments we made kind of further tailor it. So Chandler makes the decisions, but they're operating within the confines of that policy and all of those allocations. And I'm happy to provide that if it's helpful.
So that policy, and then I don't know if our contract with them is multi-year or whatever, so all that stuff periodically comes up to the board for review anyway, right?
Yeah.
This is kind of pro forma stuff to put the actual authority with your office, but this mechanism that kind of backfills all that stuff is already existing.
Yes, every county has to go through this process each year. Treasurer tax collector from each of the other counties in California goes to their board, receives that delegation of authority, and it's renewed on an annual basis. Chandler, we actually only were up and running with them last year, so this is still a recent process. We just essentially are in the infancy of our program here.
Okay. Public input? Anyone in the chambers or the Zoom room have comment on this item?
No hands up in Zoom.
Okay, we'll bring it back to the board then.
Is there a resolution necessary for this, or is it just a one and done? We get to just move to approve delegation. We can delegate without any underlying document.
Supervisor Simon?
I move to approve delegation of investment authority to the treasurer tax collector.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Item 7.9. Consideration of resolution authorizing investment of monies in the local agency investment fund. Treasurer tax collector.
So the Local Agency Investment Fund, or LAIF, is a pool that's run through the State Treasurer's Office. The county currently has an account in this pool. That's one of our primary accounts where we maintain sort of an effective yield, but liquidity is important. We're able to access those funds easily. So we make solid use of this every year, and especially under a new policy, we will continue to do so. My request here is that your board consider the proposed resolution to authorize the investment of county monies in this fund. We already have the account set up. The underlying purpose for this is because of the transition between Barbara Ringen and myself. This resolution is necessary to finalize my access to the account and restore all our privileges and make sure that transition's complete. So that's the reason this resolution is before your board.
Comments from the board? Do we have any?
So
I'm sorry,
just distinguish then, I just asked on the last item, so no resolution, but this one requires a resolution. So it's just curiosity, it seems like two shades of the same thing. So why is a formal resolution required in this case?
This is a state requirement, and the resolution is a state requirement. Many jurisdictions interchangeably for their own actions use resolutions or motions. So the first one was county action. This one is to be in compliance with state law requirements and in order to access the state treasury. That's why. Good question.
Okay, public input, anyone in the chambers or on Zoom?
No one on Zoom.
Yes, come on up.
Michael Wagner, a random citizen here today. It's nice to see everybody again. And Jessica, congratulations. It's nice to see you in the middle of the table. I actually really have a question just around the funds in general. If I remember correctly from last year, most of the money that had been put into the Chandler Fund, I think like 25% of it was in U.S. bonds. Do you remember that, Bruno? That conversation?
I'm supposed to remember this.
I'm just, that's what I recall. And so with that, I was wondering, A, how that had played out, and then B, how that will affect the large amount of money that you guys have invested. I'm not a finance broker or anything like that, but it was something that I had noticed and brought up last year. And I'm not sure if that had been addressed or looked at with the feds increasing the rates, how that will affect the bond market, and maybe it'd be a good idea to diversify.
So, yeah, when we created the policy, and that was Supervisor Sabatier, myself, Patrick too, and their CAO, our previous CAO, we started moving things slowly. And so we've had a quarterly update from Chandler, and in those updates, it's shown how the portfolio has changed.
Good.
We didn't want to make a lot, we didn't want to dump everything in one.
Excellent, but you did realize, you looked at it and you said, hey, we're gonna change this.
So it was all part of the investment strategy that we created with their guidance. And Patrick can maybe speak more about the outcomes of that if you want to.
Sure, I can address that. Overall, in our portfolio, we stayed fairly short. We're allowed to go out up to 3 years on a normal basis. We kept our target range around 1.8. So as these rates have continued to rise, we've been able to take advantage of them, because each time we close out a position, we're able to reinvest at a higher rate. We are still heavy in U.S. Treasuries and agencies, just because that is considered to be a safe position to hold, and given those rate increases, it has been able to achieve a positive rate of return for the county. So that's the track we're on right now. I don't foresee a change, at least in terms of my conversation with Chandler. So I would think we're going to be continuing that for the foreseeable future.
Very good. Thank you.
And Michael, just to let you know, August 31st, 2022, 30.9% in U.S. Treasury bonds, and May 31st, 25.8%. So you're on it.
Congratulations. Good job, you guys. I mean, that's a huge policy change, a big shift. It shows a lot of foresight and like real capability in making changes. So good job.
Thanks.
Making a huge difference.
It's made a big difference, yes. Okay, any more public input? Okay, then I will bring this back to the board for action.
Madam Chair, I offer the resolution.
Okay, roll call, please.
Supervisor Simon?
Yes.
Supervisor Sabatier?
Aye.
Supervisor Crandall?
Aye.
Supervisor Green?
Aye.
And Supervisor Pyska?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Is that it? Do you have one more?
There is one more item.
7-11, there it is, okay. Item 711, the addendum, consideration of resolution authorizing investment of monies with U.S. Bank N.A. and authorizing the county treasurer to act as the duly authorized and qualified representative.
So again, this is a similar situation to what we just experienced with the state treasurer and LAIF. This resolution is required by our bank, U.S. Bank, where we already hold our account. This is our primary custodial account for the county's funds. for the Treasury pool. This resolution is necessary to complete the enrollment and transition process now with my office, so I would ask for your board to consider this resolution before you.
Okay. Comments from the board? No? Okay. Public comment, chambers or Zoom?
Nobody on Zoom.
Okay, I will bring it back to the board.
Madam Chair, I offer the resolution.
Okay, roll call, please.
Supervisor Simon?
Yes.
Supervisor Sabatier?
Aye.
Supervisor Crandall?
Yes.
Supervisor Green?
Aye.
And Supervisor Pyska?
Yes,
Thank you, board.
thank you.
And congratulations.
Yes,
Thank you.
congratulations.
Hope it simplifies your day.
Okay. So, committee assignments?
You got to read it off, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Morgan, open. Consideration of 2023 committee assignments for members of the Board of Supervisors. Are you, me? Okay.
I'll help you along.
Okay, so we did have a couple of notes that I saw for committee assignments. Let's see. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about first?
Always.
Supervisor Sabatier?
I wanted to ask Supervisor Green if he doesn't mind swapping for, he's currently the member and I'm the alternate for the continuum of care. I seem to get deeper and deeper intimately involved with the continuum of care and just looking to see if he's okay with that exchange. And in exchange, since it is in your district, if you would like to take away the airport.
ALUC?
Yeah.
Well, that's a twofer anyway. That's a twofer anyway. I don't think there's anything to take away on that. And I'm already listed on it, right?
I don't believe so. Last time I looked.
Am I
unless
looking at the
missed-
wrong list?
No, he is
Yeah,
under
he
the Airport Land and Use Committee.
Okay, I thought I saw someone else on there.
Anyway, so I don't think a change is needed, so no haggling needed on ALUC, but certainly open to the idea you would be the primary and I would be the alternate. Although it did just, we should clarify, because they just asked me to apply to be the voting member, so I'll be a voting alternate, I guess, and then you'll have to clarify your status with them. But that's fine. I appreciate the interest. COC is very much in need of support and guidance, and I'm confident you will continue to do that.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else have comments?
I believe I was taken off RCRC. I believe that Chair Pyska was the alternate for that as well. That was another one of my findings on there.
Well, I was made the alternate for CSAC,
Oh, I thought you wanted RCRC.
but I do want RCRC.
All yours.
Thank you.
And then since you are now on RCRC, I'd like to see if I can get taken off the GFSA and the other CA, GSCA,
Yeah, Golden State Connect.
and have Chair Pyska take the alternate unless she wants to Rochambeau Supervisor Crandall.
I'll be the alternate. Any other changes? I'll open it up to the public in the chambers or in Zoom.
Did you have a CSAC change?
7.6, 7.6.
Committee assignments.
Just suggestion on ALUC, Bruno, you were trying to hand it off. So again, it ain't going to meet very often at all, but as far as who's closest, probably Jessica would be next closest. So you don't need another committee, Jessica, but ALUC, you're probably closer to the airport than Bruno's district. So just for housekeeping, I can't remember the last time an ALUC has ever met, but.
And I don't mind staying on. I was just trying to be nice and do an exchange, but I failed.
Okay, that's fine. I don't care. Can you clear, this Blue Ribbon Committee reference, that's not the Clear Lake Blue Ribbon Committee, right? That's a local Blue Ribbon Committee?
No, I think you're speaking of one and the same.
That's the
It's
Blue
the
Ribbon
AB
Committee for
707.
the rehabilitation at Clear Lake?
Yes.
Well, I'm not going to arm wrestle anybody for it, but I do have a definite interest in that committee, and I expect it's going to have a busy year. But I will not arm wrestle, but I'm open to serving on that if Supervisor Crandall or Simon would allow me to do that.
Yeah, if you want it all, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I don't know, EJ, what do you?
Yeah, I'm fine staying on. Unless you want, if you want to stay on, Moak, I will. But I'll still stay on. Yeah. I mean, I've been pretty active. So
Blue Ribbon.
Blue Ribbon Committee.
You want to stay on?
Yeah.
And you want to,
Yep, and I won't allow Michael Green to step into that position.
And then do we need to make a switch for the CSAC one as well, since it has Supervisor Green as the alternate?
yeah. That one, yeah, both RCRC and CSAC will be the alternates.
I think that's what we approved last time, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be CSAC alternate.
Okay, I think I was in the middle of doing public comment. Any comment from the public? Chambers or Zoom on committee assignments for the board?
None on Zoom.
Okay, well then I will bring this back to the board for action.
Susan has
Oh,
her hand.
Susan?
If I may.
Sure.
Yes, on a few items, we have some ad hoc committees that may have run their course. And if you'd like, I could recommend a few that could probably go away at this time, and we can always regenerate them if we need to.
Yes.
First would be the CDD Ad Hoc Committee. The Economic Development Task Force. I was thinking that with the onboarding of a new Economic Development DCAO, that we'd reorganize and reconfigure and start anew with that person. My other thoughts were on the
Okay.
Roadmap Task Force, but I will defer to Bruno, since that's his, or EJ, your pilot projects.
Right, no, it's been, yeah,
continue it?
let's continue.
Continue that, all right. And then the South Main, I think we can discontinue at this time until they, meaning the city of Lakeport, applies again for an annexation.
And then Public Health Ad Hoc.
I'll leave that to you guys.
And did you speak about the CDD Ad Hoc either?
I did, that was the
Okay.
first one, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I think Public Health can go the same direction as the CDD Ad Hoc, and we can easily bring something back if there's a need for us to provide support in any way, shape, or form.
Did you say Cannabis Tax Committee too? Or-
No, I did not. I'll leave that up to the board.
And just for purpose of why some of these continue, the CARES Act ARPA Ad Hoc Committee, because of the fact that we have a deadline of 2024 to expend all those funds, keeping it alive so that we can come back for where are we at, what needs to be brought back to the board, what are the options that we have. So I think that one should remain, though it would only meet probably one more time or two more times or something like that. But I think that it has a purpose still.
Those are my only recommendations.
I think maybe we could keep the public health ad hoc for a little while longer and see if it's needed rather than get rid of it right now. Are you okay with that?
I was just looking at some things that we haven't been
Yeah.
utilizing, and I have Ms. Grant's voice in my head telling me that ad hoc committees are supposed to have a specific purpose
Limited duration.
and
Yes.
limited duration.
See, sometimes you listen.
Did you want to add something?
I'm sorry, yes, I just wanted to make clear that your board can determine by consensus to stop these particular committees, but it will have to come back to your board for an action item on the ones that you're no longer going to populate.
Did we add cannabis tax? I know Supervisor Crandall mentioned it as the cannabis tax, since we have the policy in place now. Will that go away, or is that going to stay there? Just
I didn't recommend removal, but I was going to defer to the board.
It hasn't met, it's still had, what, Tino on there?
I'm not, well, again, this is before my time, but I know tax was reduced significantly last year, and I assume the committee had some role in that. So until things stabilize, I think, I don't really care, but I assume the committee popped up for a reason, and that was to give some input on what we're doing, and I expect that volatility will certainly continue for the next year or two. So
It's actually for spending cannabis revenue.
for spending,
Yeah, it's the policy.
It's the policy for spending the revenue.
now that so you're saying the policy's done?
Yeah.
And if it comes back, we can amend it at the board level, so we don't need the committee? Was it kind of an ad hoc? Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right.
I'm okay with eliminating.
So we're looking at eliminating the Cannabis Tax Committee, CDD Ad Hoc Committee, Economic Development Task Force, and the South Main Negotiating Team.
And public health. Ad hoc.
No, I thought we.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to keep public health?
Yeah, I think we'll keep public
Oh,
health.
okay, sorry.
So those will need to come back on a separate agenda?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so then we need to formalize these committee assignments.
Need a motion? I move to approve the committee assignments for 2023 as amended.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Okay. So then we are ready to move on to item 7.7 for advisory board appointments.
It's insane.
Okay. So we've got, the first board is animal care and control, and we've got open seats here. You can start with the supervisor in District 1. Looks like we have one District 1 applicant.
I got Tracy Gilder, okay. I'm fine with it. We're gonna do them all in one motion, or do we need to do public comment and then do the motion? I guess that's the question.
You can, if you like, take public comment just on the item, and they can speak to each and every
Okay.
one as you like. The appointment to each group should be done individually.
Okay.
The timing's impeccable.
Okay, so are we gonna, so we take public comment for each person?
No,
No,
for the
just
whole
for the
item.
item.
Okay, so we'll do
Yeah.
our recommendations, and then we'll do, okay. Okay, so District 1, Animal Control is, you're recommending Tracy Thrasher Hilger. And District 2,
So for District 2, I'm going to postpone at this moment. I'm waiting on a response from Chief Hobbs. Before it was Lieutenant Schneider. who took care of the animal control in the city of Clear Lake. I thought it was good for the two to communicate and work together, and so I'm awaiting to see if he wants to continue that. I apologize, I missed making sure that they had an application in. Appreciate Charlene for submitting her application and not saying no, but I want to make sure first and give first dibs to the police department in Clear Lake. I think the collaboration is a good thing.
Okay. And District 3?
So I have 2, 4, 6 applications, and I noticed that there's two members at large. How are we going about that? How does that work?
Will you? Oh,
I'll let
okay.
her do a recommendation.
There
So
we
for
go.
District 3, I'm going to recommend Susan Kozad.
So since there's 2 members at large, I was thinking since there's multiple applications for District 4 and District 3, 1 member at large could come from District 4 and 1 could come from District 3. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
So do you have a recommendation for?
Lynn Carey Rana as a member at large would be my recommendation.
Carrie. I don't think that she's on this list. Let me see.
Yeah, she's.
Yeah, she is.
No, on
She's
my
right.
printout?
Yeah, she's on the District 3 list.
Yeah. Just as a point to clarify, it also says that she was hoping to be on Upper Lake Cemetery, but I don't see her on the Upper Lake Cemetery lower down, so let's not forget her in case that is one that you want to choose.
I made note of it for the chair.
Okay, member at large. Okay, District 4?
Yeah, I'm going to support reappointment of Kendall Neighbor, and I'm going to nominate Janice Hornby to be a member at large.
Okay, and there is one applicant from District 5, and that's Beverly Benedict Hill. Okay, so
I see Jonathan here if you want to ask him.
Jonathan,
Does he have a preference?
did you hear everyone that we were considering, and are there preferences or anything you want us to know?
The only thing I could say is I had Val Stallings reach out to me, who is Send Rover on over. She is in Supervisor Green's district. I think she would also be really good for a member at large if there was room. But beyond everything else, no, I don't have any other comments. That said, she received an application. The last email she sent me is that she's looking to fill it out. So it's not in yet or anything or guaranteed, but that's all.
Okay. Does that change anything for you, Supervisor Green?
Well, I'm okay with what I nominated, and I appreciate the feedback honestly, and depending if we don't hear back from, we may need another. Well, that wouldn't work for your district. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm okay with writing with what I proposed.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, we have, one second. Okay, we have, for the Child Care Council, we have Teresa Schoen. Everybody okay with that one? Yep. Oh, should we, okay, I could do that. If that's how you want it, Johanna.
Well, it makes it easier.
Sure. Okay, so before we move on, we'll open it up for public input for the animal control applicants that we've selected. Anyone in the chambers or on Zoom?
No one on Zoom.
Okay. Bring it back to the board for individual appointments.
Madam Chair, I move to appoint Janice Hornby, Susan Kozad,
Are we doing them individually so that?
Oh, that's going to take a long time.
No, you can do all of them for each entity.
Oh,
together.
okay. Oh, that's good.
So Janice Hornby, Susan Kozad, Lynn Carey Rana, Tracy Thrasher Hilger, and was it Kendall Neighbor? And I think those are the ones currently that were chosen, unless I missed one. Nope. Which one did I miss?
Beverly.
And Beverly Benedict Hill. Thank you.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Animal Control Board has been selected. We will move on to Child Care Council. We have one applicant, Teresa Schoen. Any board comment on Teresa? Okay, public input in the chambers or on Zoom?
None on Zoom.
Okay, I'll bring it back to the board.
Madam Chair, I move to approve Teresa Schoen to the Child Care Council.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next is the Cawberry Council. And we are looking at some reappointments. Christopher Nettle is a reappointment. Kathleen McCarthy is a reappointment. Donald Strickler is a reappointment. And also Kenneth Schneider. There are two applicants, there's one applicant, Darlene Warner, who serves on a subcommittee of the Cawberry Council, but I would like to wait until the council makes their decision and their vote on who it is that they would choose. She has been nominated. There are two other applicants, but there are bylaws that require certain amount of participation in a year from applicant. And I'm not sure the other two have met that, but if they want to start attending those meetings and participating, I welcome them to do that. But I do want them to be able to select their own council members. So right now it'll just be those four who I'm recommending. Any comment from the board?
Can you repeat the four, please?
Christopher Nettles, Kathleen McCarthy, Donald Strickler, and Kenneth Schneider.
Okay.
Open to public for a comment. Anybody in Zoom?
Not on Zoom.
Oh, there is comment, okay.
Hello, my name's Tom Arquette. I saw on your agenda that you had listed on the top for Cawberry Counselor for Beverly Bennett Hill. Was that one of the names of the persons that did not have a particular background to be on that committee?
You have to attend a certain amount of meetings throughout the year.
No, I'm not asking that. I'm just asking, was
Yes.
it one of the persons?
She's one of the applicants.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Any other public comment? Okay, bring it back to the board. If someone would like to. What? Oh, no, sorry. Can you come up and please state your name for the record?
He said Tom Arquette.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. You got,
Tom Arquette.
okay.
How to spell that, I don't know. I don't want to butcher it, so.
M-A-R.
Got to come up to the
You gotta
mic.
come to the microphone, please. Or maybe he could come.
I think the individual
Yeah, have the individual.
who came to the mic needs to come.
We grand jurors know each other.
No.
Problem.
No, it doesn't work
Is
that
there-
way.
Do you want me to spell his name, or do you want?
Well,
me to
he's
spell it?
coming up. If he
Okay,
could come and
sorry.
spell his name, please,
Don't
that'd
mean
be.
to confuse things.
I'm very sorry. Okay, the spelling is M-A-R-Q-U-E-T-T-E. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would have skipped the last TE. Madam Chair, if I may, I move to approve Christopher Nettles, Kathleen McCarthy, Donald Strickler, and Kenneth Schneider to the Cobb Advisory Council, and I believe those were your four.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Cawberry Council is seated with 4 members. The next opening is for Countywide Parks and Rec. We have 1 applicant from District 3, Michael Herman.
Does it say there's 5 vacancies?
Yeah, 1 in each district, I think.
Have the others been filled?
Not yet.
Okay, well, we need to work on that.
Yep.
Do you have any comments?
Well, I think he's a good candidate. I just want to make sure we have enough people applying, if that makes sense.
Yes.
But I do know that this was sent out, Johanna, it was sent out when for recruitment?
It was either late November or December, but I don't remember.
Okay,
I do have somebody too that I'm going to have.
okay.
I'll get on that.
Middle of November. But we can carry over the park thing if you want.
Do you want to?
Ask Lars if he has other people.
Yeah, if you want to, I knew you said you had something on that too?
Yeah, we can always put Michael in if that's up to you. It's your district.
We could wait, yeah. We'll
Wait?
wait on that, yeah. but-
Okay.
But if there's anyone from the public that has.
We'll wait on that one. Okay. We have our CSAs 2, District 3. 3 candidates.
Let's see, I have them right here. Yes, there is, Edward Smith, James McDowell, and Scott Pruitt. And I see there's 5 vacancies, but those 3, they would, because there's 7 members total. So this would make 5 total, or, it would make 5 total members for a board. So yeah, I'm good with them, but of course, if there's anyone from the public that has anything to say or add.
Okay. Public comment? Anyone from the public? Zoom?
None from Zoom.
Okay, we'll bring it back to the board.
So I'll motion to appoint Edward Smith, James McDowell, and Scott Pruitt on the Spring Valley CSA number 2.
Second?
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, CSA 2 members are seated. Next is Earth. Pamela Kaczynski. Kaczynski, yeah.
Yeah. And so with this one, there's still, there's not going to be enough, so I'm going to just postpone, is that what you said you were doing, Bruno? Postponing, or what was the word you used?
Yeah, I'm
gonna do the
postponing
same
until I
on
hear
that.
more.
Right, I'll do the same on that one.
Okay, public input on postponing. None?
All right.
Okay, bring it back to the board then. We will look at those in the future. EMCC, we have 4. We have 4 applicants. Who's in charge of this one? Is it you?
Yeah.
I had a question more than a comment. So some of the classifications on there, a big committee, and I know job titles are a thing, so no diss on anyone applying, but my question for Ms. Giagrosa is whether that was more of a consumer-interested group or a private ambulance company. Gene Moeller, my old cardiologist, appreciate the interest. Don't know if she's representing a group or just herself. Certainly welcome her experience either way. Katie Beza does appear to be an EMT, but she's based in Fortuna. So don't mind the experience. She would fit in that category, but isn't local in that respect. And then certainly Mr. Cepeda is classified properly as the fire department. So not opposed to anybody on there necessarily, but I just want to make sure we're respectful of the composition of the committee. And I do want to shout out to any local applicants should probably get preference over out-of-county applicants.
Do you have any comments?
Actually, this is something that I made a mistake with earlier with the appointments. I know that I did email CAO Parker about the IFT. The EMCC is followed up by the IFT, so the Emergency Medical, I forget, to be honest.
Care Committee.
Care Committee. They meet, and then afterwards it becomes the intra-facility transfer. And so a lot of the same members are on the IFT. Not all the same, but a lot of the same ones. And the ambulance services have a huge role in some of those conversations, and they're not always from a local area. And so it's been in the past that we've had some of them as members, so not being local is definitely not a reason to reject their application, because they are absolutely a stakeholder in the services provided for the EMCC and IFT services provided here in Lake County.
Might be easier to follow them than not.
Thank you.
I just follow up,
That's what I'm referring to.
it wouldn't be a bar, but I assume the overriding goal of this is consumer-oriented as opposed to, the agencies involved and all that. They're always going to have opportunity to give direction through their agencies and on any particular agenda item. So again, I'm just questioning more the overriding mix by occupational status. And, again, if we have an EMT rep who's an actual EMT, that's great, but before we assign people as a consumer-interested group, I just prefer they be classified properly so that we can open up those appointments to consumers or groups representing consumers as opposed to a private ambulance company in the case of REACH. So don't oppose their participation, but I would request they wear the proper job titles when we fill those seats.
Does it say on the application, that's what I was looking for, if it speaks to the category that they would fulfill? Because we got program director for REACH. I guess that would go under private ambulance, since that's basically what is offered through their services, just not an ambulance as we think of. And then MedStar ambulance, so that fits perfectly under that as well. So at this moment in time, there it is. I don't know that Ashley Giagrosso would meet consumer interested group, and maybe that's what you're kind of alluding to. I think it's ambulance. Ms. Grant, do you mind if I ask if REACH fits under ambulance? I think it does.
I would assume so, since it's an emergency care.
Yeah, it's a carrier of sort, just not in a truck.
What does it say?
Yeah, okay. So I think that I will go with the list as is, important representatives, and I'll allow Katie Baza to go under EMT representatives, and obviously Chief Cepeda fits perfectly within that as well, and Gene Mueller with the consumer interested group. Does that have a specific definition of consumer interested group versus a consumer? So I'm going to hold up on that one and see if we can bring it back so I can get a definition of, is it a consumer or is it a specific, like a nonprofit agency that would be a consumer interested group that ensures that care is provided in appropriate ways? I don't know. I'd like to see what that definition is, and I apologize for not being as prepared as I should for that one. But that would be what the motion would be.
Okay. So recommending all 4 of them.
I'm going to hold on Gene Mueller, just to find out what consumer interested group specifically means and how it is defined in the EMCC bylaws.
Okay, so you're going to be recommending 3 of them?
Yeah.
Okay. And public comment? Public input? Anybody in Zoom?
None on Zoom.
Okay, back to the board.
So, Madam Chair, I move to approve Ashley Giagrosso, sorry if I butchered the last name, into the private ambulance company, Katie Baza under EMT representative, and William Cepeda, a reappointment for the fire department, to the EMCC.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Okay, motion carries. Next is our Fish and Wildlife Committee, Advisory Committee. It looks like we have 2 applicants for District 1. Ronald Ledoux and Brandon Hallegren.
And I'm good with both those.
Do we do 2?
I don't, only one?
There's a reappointment of Roland, and then it looks like a new application from Brandon Hallegren.
So in my motion, do I do reappointment and then, because I'm okay with both those. I've talked to Roland Ledoux and I know Brandon, so
Do you know if Brandon fits within the category of agriculture, education, or recreation?
general public,
Yeah, he's general.
District 1.
And there's only one from each district for the general public, as far as the specific membership
Oh, I
goes.
see, they're both general public, all right.
And that's why I was wondering if maybe one of them fits within agriculture, education, or recreation.
I don't know the answer to that. This is, so I have spoken with Roland Ledoux. If it's just the one that's available there, I'll go with Roland.
Looks to me like he would fit under recreation based on the limited description put on his application. We do have a spot available for recreation interest.
Okay.
Do you want to know?
This is the first time we've gone and said who fits where. and
Yeah.
Gotten into the weeds, okay.
Or actually, there's 2 for Fish and Wildlife Conservation. He may even fit better under there, so. I think we have a spot.
Says there's 11 vacancies, so yeah, I think we definitely have a spot. So I'm fine with putting him under the recreation. Brandon under recreation, reappoint Roland under the general public District 1, so.
Okay. And looks like District 4?
Yeah, we can reappoint Mr.
Reappoint.
Hinchcliffe.
And appoint the District 5 applicant, Stephen Mayfield. So we've got 4. And any further comments before I open it up to the public? Public, board chambers, or Zoom? Okay, bring it back to the board for action.
Madam Chair, I move to appoint Roland, reappointment of Roland Ledoux and Brendan Hallegren to, I forget what I said now, Recreation. Richard Hinchcliffe, General Public District 4, and Stephen Mayfield, General Public District 5.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Fish and Wildlife is seated. Next is Hartley Cemetery, District 4, for 2 openings and a reappointment.
I apologize, that caught me, but I'm going to go ahead and move to reappoint Shirley Templeton and appoint Marsha Wells.
Okay, we'll open it up to the public. Any comments here in the Zoom? No? Okay, I'll bring it back to the board.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? Okay, cemetery is seated. We have one applicant for the Heritage Commission.
I know the one applicant in my district is Elizabeth Larson, and I'm fine with appointing. It just looks like we have 7 vacancies. Not sure, but I mean, if we can appoint, I'll appoint. I'm fine with appointing right now. If there's,
And I have one in the works. I just haven't been able to follow up on that. I'd like to see what the Heritage Commission can do. I know I've spoken with Director Turner about it, and I think there's some interesting things that can be done.
Okay.
So they can't meet until there's a quorum? And there's 7? Okay, so we'll need,
So we're going to hold off and re-advertise that, or?
he wants to go ahead with the appointment, and then we'll just work to fill those
No, I
vacancies.
was just saying I'm comfortable moving forward, but if we want to
Oh.
re-advertise, I'm fine with that too.
You want to wait then?
I mean, I'm fine either way. Would it matter if I appointed now, or we would just not look for a district?
Just means you don't have to fill that position for you.
All right. I'll just go ahead and appoint, yeah. So you can open it to the public if there's any comments, and then I'll.
Okay, public, chambers or Zoom? None?
Nope.
Okay, I'll bring it back to the board for action.
So I motion to appoint Elizabeth Larson for the District 3 seat for the Heritage Commission.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nope. Okay, one seat is filled. And the IHSS, we have 11 vacancies and 1 applicant, District 3.
No, it's I didn't even know that one was mine. I'm fine with appointing. I know there's 11 vacancies. I mean, but if we want to, like I said, it's just like the last one. I'm willing to move forward.
Okay. Well, it's one more than we have then. Okay, public comment, chambers or Zoom?
None.
Okay, back to the board for action on Teresa Fetter Johnson.
So I will move to appoint Teresa Fetter Johnson for the In-Home Support Services Public Authority Advisory Committee.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Kelseyville Cemetery, Robert Rinker is our applicant for reappointment. And, yep,
Okay.
yep. Public comment on this? Chambers or Zoom? Back to the board.
Madam Chair, I move to appoint Robert Ranker, or reappoint Robert Ranker to Kelseyville Cemetery District.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Now we are on Lath. District 3, we have 1 applicant,
And I see.
Kevin Wasik.
I see Kurt McKelvey's here if he wants to come up and speak on public input. You want to open it?
Okay. Well, I was just, do you want to do,
I'm looking to postpone because I only have 1, but I know that
okay.
Kurt's willing to, he wants to speak on
All
it.
right, I'll open up public comment. Board chambers?
Hi there. My name's Kurt McKelvey. I'm a resident in Lucerne and previously served on the council. First of all, I'd just like to put forward my support for Kevin Waitchick's reappointment. And secondly, I'd like to just let the board know that according to the current bylaws of the Lucerne Area Town Hall, we're supposed to have 2-year staggered terms. So I would hope that when Kevin is appointed, he's appointed for a full 2-year term. The other thing I wanted to mention is this Board of Supervisors just appointed me, along with several other council members this last year, to what I believed was a 2-year term. However, I was just informed 2 days prior to the first that my term was ending along with Jason Mohans and Melanie Lim, which is unusual to me. We're supposed to have 2-year staggered terms. The previous council members that were appointed in 2020, or 2021 rather, those members were able to finish their 2-year term without any issue. And I received an email, it was 2 days prior to the first, saying that all 5 council seats would be open. I immediately emailed county administration back saying that that had to have been a mistake, that it's got to be some sort of error because I was just appointed months ago, along with, you know, Melanie Lim and Jason Mohan. And I was told by county administration that, well, that's what they have on their end, and therefore we all need to reapply rather than being reappointed. I feel that this is an error in terms of the Board of Supervisors and county administration not abiding by the bylaws. I was told that the reason for this was because our bylaws was just changed. Now, that is the case. Our bylaws were just changed in the previous months. However, the portion pertaining to terms was not changed. We have had 2-year staggered terms since the beginning of our council. That has been a landmark of our bylaws since its inception. That has not changed at all. So to be told that that's the reason for us not being reappointed is, I don't feel that that's accurate. And essentially what I'm seeing is that because of this gap in reappointment, it's left me, along with several of the other council members, kind of in a state of limbo, because I would like to put out the agenda for the Lucerne Maintenance Subcommittee meeting that's supposed to be this Thursday. I cannot do that because I don't believe I currently have the authority, because I've been told by county administration that I'm not on the council currently. Basically, rather than fixing this issue, I've been told that we all need to reapply anyway, even though it was my understanding that we were appointed for a 2-year term. So what I'm asking for is for the Board of Supervisors to remedy this by reappointing the 3 council members that were appointed during last year so that they can finish their 2-year term. The only issue with that is if you guys are to consider that, it probably likely wouldn't get to your table until next Tuesday. The regular meeting needs to be agendized next Monday. So this is definitely going to stifle or delay the council meeting or acting on anything in this month. And I'd like to avoid that. So basically, I'd just like to again, extend my support for Kevin Waycheck's reappointment, but I'd also like to request that the Board of Supervisors perhaps consider holding a special meeting on perhaps this Friday to reappoint Jason Mohan, Melanie Lim, and myself so that we can finish our 2-year term for the council.
Johanna, did you want to, or I can answer some of that? Yes, and so I remember we had a discussion as well when the initial notice went out, and we had a discussion, and I thought that that was accurate, what you just said about appointing for 2 years. And then when I talked to Johanna, she had mentioned with staff that the way that it works is you filled Lonnie Urquiza's spot, which was appointed in 21. 2 years prior to that, Lonnie was appointed. Prior to that, in 2017, it's always been all 5 for some reason, and so that's why they were appointing this time 1- and 2-year terms, because it hasn't happened before. So that's what the whole goal was to get on track. They're doing the same with Earth as well, because there's some discrepancies there as well, and so that's why they put out that notice. And so Melanie had filled the position from Danielle. Prior to that was Loretta Krentz. And so those 5 were appointed in 2021 and come up this December. And so because it's been the practice to do all 5, they're at that. However, this time there would be 3 1 years and 2 2 years. Okay. And so that's why it went that way. And so that's why she put out the notice.
Okay, so even if I were to reapply today, like I said, the application wouldn't reach your guys' desk until next Tuesday.
We don't have a meeting next Tuesday.
Exactly. So that, there are very timely issues that the community of Lucerne is wanting to meet about, particularly maintenance, and then also the proposed sale of the castle. The community would like to have those discussions without any delay, and So I would just hope that, that this Board of Supervisors would consider perhaps holding a special meeting on Friday to consider reappointing those council members, and if we need to reapply, that shouldn't be a problem.
I've just been given an email when you were noticed in June that you'd be serving from June 21st to January 2023. There's an email that states that. So you were, that's what I meant by you were serving Lonnie's term, and so. Yeah.
I acknowledge that that is the case. I understand at this point that that is, that I was completing her term. So at this point, I'm just kind of transitioning to the other issues in terms of just making sure that these meetings go forward without any unnecessary delays to the community. Is that something that that this Board of Supervisors would be open to in terms of having a special meeting to reappoint so that there's no undue delay to the council meeting this month?
I mean, I had a similar issue with the Cloudberry Council and noticed that that everyone needed to be reappointed, and so I contacted everyone and had them submit their paperwork in time. So it's up to you.
No, I'd like to just postpone until a later date and move forward from there.
Okay.
And if there's a need to have a discussion, I can look at holding a informational town hall conducted by me until we can get reappointments ready for one of the further dates. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. Any other public comment on this issue, on this item?
I just want to follow up on that because I think I'm looking at my future with my advisory council. Similar thing, we haven't even passed our bylaws yet to stagger our terms, but other than a one and done announcement that applications are open, I'm not sure everyone got that. I don't know that I have any applications from my people. So if we're going to postpone it, fine, but maybe giving direction to re-advertise and whatever our normal advertisement route is. If it's just a mass press release, it's really easy to kind of lose sight of that. But continue it, sure, but maybe figure out a way to re-advertise, not through whatever our standard process is. For sure, let's do that, but I know people are going to be interested in applying in yours. I know people are going to be interested in applying in mine, and yet to date, I don't have any applications. So I do think possibly there might be some room for improvement or a repetitive messaging when we do have these committee appointments coming open. And again, I'm going to be looking at the same thing with my council because I'm going to have to get a whole bunch of new applications. We're going to have to get the bylaws amended, even though we're in the new terms. You know, so my current council is serving beyond their terms, and so who can actually approve the bylaws, and then how we're going to advertise for the appointments and get the appointments done is going to be challenging. So I just want to acknowledge the concerns raised by the gentleman. Certainly we want to continue it so we get a broader pool of applicants, but giving maybe some additional direction to staff so they can help us help our potential applicants get in there may be prudent.
It's also prudent at the end of the year when you're looking at November, December to reach out to your advisory members and see who's interested in continuing and who needs to reapply and kind of get that paperwork buttoned up as much as you can in November and December. That's really helpful. Okay, so do we have any more public comment on the last District 3 seat?
I just had one quick question for Anita. Considering there's like a kind of a gray area, I'm fairly certain that I'm not on the council at this point because that seems to be the position of the county. So I would say at this point, you know, it would be not kosher for me to put out an agenda to hold a meeting, so I'm planning on not doing that at this point. I'd like to be able to continue the business of the council as soon as possible, but considering that's the situation, I understand that and I'll accept that. So I just want to get clarification. So I am not under any Brown Act requirements at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what is meant by you're not under any Brown Act requirements. You're not under a Brown Act requirement to hold a meeting if you don't have a quorum. And it doesn't sound as if there's members to have a meeting. So under the Brown Act, you couldn't have a meeting if you don't have a quorum of sitting board members.
I suppose my question, just to be more specific, is would there be any limitations between me speaking with the previous, or what I understood as being the current council members, but I guess they're previous council members now, Melanie Lim, Jason Mohan, Kevin Wachek, and Rebecca Schwinger. So there should be no Brown Act limitations in terms of my being able to discuss with them at this point, considering we're no longer seated council members. Is that my understanding?
I don't think so.
So I can openly, speak to them in regards to community issues without, basically the reason I'm asking is I'd like to suggest to them that they put in an application and, to be reappointed. And I just want to make sure that I'm not.
I don't think it's any different than the emails that you put out to them otherwise as well, or connect to them, right? Am I right on that?
No, but I would suggest that you might want county staff to send them out, notifying them, and just going through the standard procedure, because you would want to avoid the appearance of having official status when you do not.
Exactly.
Or if you're reconstituted, having a compromised status by actions that you've taken prior.
Exactly.
So out of an abundance of caution, I would suggest that this just go through the same advertising process, the same notification process as it does for everything else, and that way it will proceed on a very even, very objective keel.
Okay, that's what I thought, and I just wanted to get that verified, so thank you.
There's nothing against, I know you mentioned something about a community discussion. There's nothing against freedom of speech on your own. I know you stated you wanted to talk about something. Like, anybody can discuss anything in the public, and that's,
Understood.
just giving that, And
Thank you.
I sent out the link to them to reapply, so they have the link and a mechanism to reapply, so.
Like just recently?
On December 30th.
Okay, just for them to know where in their email it might be.
Is there anything on the website for this? I was just looking for a news item.
Yeah, there's a really easy fill-in application that's online. It's really made easy.
Is there any other public comment? I'd like to close public comment on this if there isn't anything else.
There is a hand.
There is a hand, okay.
I don't know who it is. Oh, there it is. I can barely see it. Amelia Smithson.
Okay, Amelia
Hope I didn't miss it from before.
Smithson. Go ahead. Speak.
Hi, my name's Amelia Smithson. I'm a resident of Lucerne, and I regularly participate in the Lucerne Town Hall meetings, and so I'm just a little concerned in listening to this meeting where one of our individuals who participate in the meetings is actually not currently appointed. And I know that he did ask your panel for a special exception to have a meeting in which it could be approved. I just am a little concerned. I don't want there to be any arbitrary or barriers to meeting or making sure that our community concerns are being addressed, especially with the pending sale of the castle. We met in December, and I just want to make sure that there's a timeline in place and that there's not any arbitrary barriers in scheduling that's going to prevent us from being able to meet and come together as a community to organize our thoughts and protests.
Noted.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'm bringing this back, I'm closing public input on this applicant and bringing it back to the board. What's your intention with this?
Postpone.
Postpone?
Later date, yeah.
Okay. Okay. The next is we have the Maternal, Child, and Adolescent Health Board. We have 10 vacancies, and we have 3 applicants for reappointment. We have a District 4 reappointment, our partnership reappointment, and District 5 reappointment. So, Supervisor Green? Are you,
Sorry, playing catch-up.
okay, so I'll open it up to the board for our partnership appointment. Everyone okay with that? And I am definitely okay with the District 5. Okay, so back to you, Supervisor Green.
Sorry, I don't even see which one.
It's Carrie Manning.
And
Oh, yeah,
it's-
that's fine. Thank you.
Sorry, I was going to say, it's general membership. It's not a representative of a specific district. It's just the district that they're from. But I would suggest that Carrie Manning, in being in the position that she is in behavioral health and the knowledge and expertise she brings to the table, I would say that we would want her to.
Yes. Okay. Public input, board room, chambers, Zoom.
No hands on Zoom.
Okay, bringing it back to the board for action.
Madam Chair, I move to approve Kim Schott, Nicole Carreri, and Carrie Manning to the Maternal, Child, and Adolescent Health Advisory Board.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? Okay. We will move on to RCD. We have one applicant from District 1.
Good with that?
Okay.
Quick question on that. Who is the other vacancy? Is it, which district is it?
Does it say here?
It just says 2 vacancies. Oh, member at large. Gotcha. I didn't
Okay.
keep reading past District 1. Never mind.
Okay. I will open that to the public. Chambers, Zoom.
Nope.
Okay, bringing it back to the board for action.
Madam Chair, I move to appoint Katie Schmidt-Hopper to District 1 RCD.
Excellent.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? Perfect. Okay, now we're on to Worth. And we have 4 applicants.
Worth. You skipped,
We just skipped
you
Spring
skipped
Valley.
Spring Valley and
CSA.
Upper Lake?
No, we did Spring Valley.
Yeah, I thought we did
No.
Spring Valley already.
Yeah,
Guess we're all different. Sorry.
guess I'm on a different list.
What was it that you had Pruitt on?
The CSA, we
Yeah,
did
he,
already.
that was appointed already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He was done.
So Worth, we have 4 members?
Yeah, so I have Claudine Pedroncelli, Linda Alexander, Melinda Wright, and Thomas, I think it's Thomas Acevis. And so I have them all for reappointment, 4 vacancies. I'm willing to appoint all 4.
Do we
Okay.
need to specify, I guess the reappointment specifies the member at large?
Let's see.
Yeah, what's the difference?
That is a strange difference between a public member and a public member at large. Agreed.
I'll have to look at the applications, so if you want to open it up to put.
Maybe it's because Western Region is more than just Upper Lake, and so there's 3 public members from Upper Lake and 1 from the outskirts, but still within the boundary of Worth.
Yeah, yeah. They've all basically put the area, like just the member, board member, none of them identified that that's a Bachelor Valley.
Oh, we got one in Winter Springs.
What's that?
We
Sorry?
got one in Winter Springs, so that might be the at-large.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
And which one was that?
That would be, I think it's Linda.
Yeah.
Yeah, Linda Alexander.
At large.
You broke it.
I know Thomas is in Nice, Melinda's in downtown Upper Lake. Claudine is Woodson Court, Upper Lake, yeah. Oh, Thomas, that's right, there it is. Because Tim's the Nice member. Okay, so there it is.
Okay, I'll open it to the public for the Worth appointments. Anyone Chambers, Zoom? No? Anyone in Zoom?
Nope.
Okay, I'll bring it back to the board for action.
So motion to appoint Claudine Pedroncelli, Linda Alexander, Melinda Wright, and Thomas Aceves to the Worth Group.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Worth Board is seated. The last one I have is the Upper Lake Cemetery.
So we have 4 applicants, 3 vacancies. And so I'll do the reappointments, Anita Crabtree and Valerie Duncan. And then out of the new, I appointed Lynn to the animal control. So I'll appoint Maya Duncan as the 3rd choice.
Okay, public, chambers, or Zoom?
Nope.
Okay, bring it back to the board.
I believe that was a motion.
Yes, I will move to appoint Valerie Duncan and Anita Crabtree for reappointment and appoint Maya Duncan.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Did we get everybody? Yes.
Believe so.
See you.
Yes.
I have a recommendations. Since we have a hard 3:30 interview with a prospective PHO, I recommend that we go into closed session at this time to prepare and to transition into a closed Zoom, and then we'll come back out of closed session after those 2 items and finish and complete the agenda. That's my recommendation at this time.
Okay, I agree with that.
I have a question in finishing up 7-7.
Yes.
With all of the approvals that have just occurred and some of them having some glaring holes in filling in, wondering if, when possible, to provide us with the latest list so that we know what our homework is to try and fill in those gaps.
We'll bring that back on the 24th or sooner if you'd like.
Or, well, I don't know that.
24's filling up.
I don't know that it needs to be on the agenda itself, but for us, to know what still has a gap, so we can go out in our community and make sure we get those applications in, and hopefully they can be on there on the 24th. But
How about the beginning of next week after the holiday?
whenever is possible, I don't want to put a timeline on it.
Okay.
So we have calendars and 7.10, right? Is that it? Besides closed session?
Sure.
Everything
was pulled for
consent was-
future.
Yeah. So we just have the 2 items to come back. Okay, we'll be going into closed session with public employee evaluation, health services director. That's item 8.1. 8.2 is public employee appointment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1, interview for public health officer, appointment for public health officer. What?
How long is 7:10 going to take? My
Just a second reading.
My personal opinion is
Calendars too?
not calendars, but I think 7:10
Okay.
being what it is, I think we should get it over with rather than putting it afterwards where we lose everybody and then people are wondering what we did. And so I personally believe that we could just get through it.
Okay, let's go through item 710. Addendum, second reading of an ordinance amending section 2-3A.1 of Article 1, Chapter 2 of Lake County Code. Edmund.
Yes, presented before you is the second reading of the ordinance. That was the corrected version that was presented on December 20th for your consideration.
Comments from the board?
Ditto to the comments I made last time.
I will open this up to the public, board chambers, anyone here, or Zoom?
There are no hands in Zoom.
Okay. I will close public comment and bring it back to the board for action.
I will offer the ordinance.
Okay, roll call?
Supervisor Simon?
Yes.
Supervisor Sabatier?
Nay.
Supervisor Crandall?
Aye.
Supervisor Green?
Aye.
And Supervisor Pyska?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we will go to closed session. Do I need to read them again?
Yeah, oh no.
2 more times.
8.1 and 8.2, come back for calendars.